Mr. Seibert?
Okay, sorry.
Mayor, I'd just like to thank Mark and Leslie and staff for their efforts to bring this information to council in a clear and concise way. It was a lot of work. We've had a number of meetings, lots of discussion, and I just want to thank those involved very much for their work. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Scarce?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend this council bill to remove item number 560-7426 from the account it's in and place it in account number 500-7426.
You've lost me, Mr. Scarce. Can you tell me where we're at?
We're on page 138, 137.
Will you look at the budget?
I have it right here.
Where are we? Ms. Jones will have to give us the implications of that move.
I think Mr. Scarce could probably explain what he's talking about.
I'll
while
explain
she's
if you'd
looking.
like
Please
me
do.
to. This removes the funding of the Joplin Sports Authority, places in the council budget so that the city manager can then determine where he wants to place the promotion of sports of Joplin in this community.
So what's our
There is a problem in doing that in the fact that the hotel motel tax funds that.
I understand that they do.
From an accounting standpoint, hotel motel tax is a revenue of the Convention and Visitor Bureau fund.
I understand that. And I'm not saying do away with it, I'm just saying place it in this account until the city manager determines how he would like for the city of Joplin to do sporting, the sports
We have
programming in
a
this
standing
community.
agreement with the Joplin Sports Authority that would require notice, and we would still have to make the payments.
You owe from 90 days notice, is that correct?
No, it was 6 months, was it
No,
not,
that's
Brian?
not correct either. That was all changed in December of,
Yes.
of 2009. That the only way that that happens now is if the council fails to appropriate funds for the Joplin Sports
It's
Authority.
exactly what he's proposing,
That's what I'm
isn't it?
proposing.
You're
He wants
proposing to
from
remove
the
it.
budget and not appropriate funds. That's his motion.
And place it in the council budget until the city manager determines where he wants sports promotion in this community to be located.
That is the motion.
So the
Okay.
implication is then that the contract with the JSA would then be broken because there would be no appropriation for the JSA.
You got it right.
Additionally, you would place that burden of expense without any offsetting revenue in the general fund.
Well, you can place it wherever you want to place it. I mean, if somebody wants to amend to place it someplace else, that's fine. But, you know, I'm putting it
wherever-
in the council budget right now.
Wherever you're going to place it outside of the CVB fund will mean there are no matching revenues.
My proposal would be to place it in account number 507426, which is not a non-existent account in the city council budget that would then be appropriated someplace else at a point in time where a recommendation comes from the city manager. That's my motion. Nobody's
Mayor?
seconded it, so I guess it's not.
No, we got it. We have it.
It's been seconded?
You need a second.
Did somebody second that?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mr. Scarce, a second by Ms. Rainey, that the funds for the JSA basically be withdrawn and placed under city manager control, whatever the appropriate account numbers are. Further discussion?
Mayor?
Mr. Shaw? I believe you.
Go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead,
Sarver.
you're fine.
Mayor, I'm a little bit confused. Evidently, this decision has been researched by Mr. Scarce, and Dr. Rosenberg seems to know about it, and it seems like this whole side of the council knows about it. I thought this was the council that discussed things like this, and we made a decision on it. I think we're being sideswiped here without knowing about it. I'd like to know why we're doing that and why there's a need for doing that. And maybe I'll agree, but at this point, I think that part of the council has made a decision for the rest of the council, and I'm not in favor of that.
Mr. Seibert?
I'm just curious to know how the commitments and things that the Sports Authority has made, how we propose to run this board. I know that a number of people who sit on the Sports Authority have a passion for this, but they also feel that this is This should be a separate entity of the city. And once this goes into place, if it would pass, which obviously it wasn't brought up tonight, it was brought up tonight because it can pass, foregone conclusion. I think you're going to have a number of people walking away from this sports authority that have a lot of connections and influence in sports marketing in this area. I think council needs to sit back and think long and hard, because we've just come off an incredibly successful marathon, and the sports authority and its connections and its legwork were integral in the success of the marathon. And I think in one fell swoop, this is a short-sighted action for a different agenda. And I would encourage those that are considering this to reconsider and view what the Sports Authority does and how they do it in a positive way, moving forward, as opposed to cut them down and lose a lot of relationships, a lot of commitments that have been in place for a long time.
May I respond?
Mr. Scarce.
Back when the Sports Authority desired to be separate from the city, primary reason was so that they could raise outside money. The city at the time that they left was raising $60,000, and they were a part of the city. At the time they left was raising $60,000 a year from outside sales. The following year they raised 10. The third year they dropped to 2. Their most recent report shows $19,000, which is an increase, but certainly nowhere near the $60,000 that they had when they were located under the umbrella of the city of Joplin.
Well, and I can tell you,
Go ahead. That was their reason for wanting to stop. I'm not proposing to do away with sports promotion in this community. I am proposing that sports promotion in this community become a part of the city of Joplin and not an independent agency that has no ties nor restrictions to the city of Joplin, except that we provide them with $260,000 a year, and then they go out and spend it however they see fit. I don't have a problem with them sports promotion in Joplin. I think when it was here before, there was some problems. I think some of those problems have been arrived, and now I'm ready, and I think a majority of this council are ready for sports promotion to come back under the umbrella of the city of Joplin rather than being an independent agent. And I'm not saying you have to do away with any of those commitments. They can still be honored, but you're acting like they won't be honored. They certainly will be honored. The city manager is the city manager of the city. I'm not proposing that we not promote sports at all. I'm certainly proposing that we do. I'm an advocate of sports, but I'm an advocate of sports being promoted in the right way.
It was my understanding that there were issues, and Brian, you might be able to help us here. There are issues and things that the Sports Authority and decisions they make that being back under the city limits them and restricts them.
That's true. A lot of them were, a lot of their complaints were dealing with travel and some of the promotions that they were doing. I know at the time that all of that was going on, there was also some potential tax benefits, I think, that they talked about at the time. But I mean, I don't know specifically what you're referring to.
Well, I've heard discussions regarding, and you know, that's another thing that frustrates me, that we're bringing this up, as Councilman Shaw says, kind of blindsided, because I'm not prepared to debate this as much as I would if I'd have known you were going to bring this up, but I think that was your point. You know, I think that, to your point, the outside revenue is being addressed by the executive committee of the Sports Authority, and it is currently being addressed. Council gave Brian, was it a 3-year extension to the Sports Authority contract, and it's been how long now have we gone into it? A year?
I think we just started on the extension.
How long has the Sports Authority been in existence on its own?
I couldn't answer that.
3 years.
I can answer.